Okay, I got more to talk about. Footage is mainly of these two bosses I like, and later parts of the game. So I was too hasty to give the game an 8, but it still deserves it. But unfortunately, XP is still lost after death. In fact, there's a lot of parts in the game that feel like the devs didn't think it all the way through when it came to just adding difficulty selections, because it feels like it was just a patch. And I know difficulty selections came out alongside the DLC. So hopefully the DLC is designed better with difficulty selections in mind, but the base game, not so much in some cases. For example, the area after the Cathedral Chapel bonfire, that is just straight up Sense Fortress. A bunch of skinny walkways with enemies at the end of them, and you need a lot of throwables. Also, the game expects you to get the gun arm upgrade, well, it's more like a cannon, but the gun, I said gun again, you cannot use that cannon if you're close to an edge because of recoil. You'll fall off if you use that thing. And later in the area, you gotta jump across, but the jump sucks. It gotta be the terrible Dark Souls jump. Boo!
What did you say, nigga?
And Lies of P came out a year after Elden Ring, so yeah, they were copying Dark Souls at the time, but mostly Bloodborne. So anyway, my total playtime in the game, 25 hours. That's pretty good with most of the cheapness taken away. It'd probably be just 20 if all the cheapness was gone. Especially all the other FromSoft staples, such as leveling up, taking a lot of XP later on, not to mention you're forced to grind a bunch. I had to grind again after a later area. And there's one annoying thing. I have high dex. I tried switching to strength for a bit after respecking those points, but later enemies started being freaking fast, so I had to go back to dex and mainly use a boss weapon, a katana, which might be the best dex weapon in the game, especially after equipping the handle on it, which scaled the weapon's dex to S tier. That plus the weapon being maxed at +5, and my high dex stats, enemies should have been going down in 1 hit. But even in late game, enemies still went out in 2 hits. Now granted, that is a good thing because they would have been stronger if I didn't grind so much. But still. Another FromSoft staple, the stamina. First off, by the end of the game, that stamina really was freaking slow. It really recharged slow, even with the amulet that increased stamina regain. And by the time I got to the last area, it hit me. Why does a robot need stamina? I know it's Pinocchio, and in my playthrough, he was starting to become human. Depending on your choices, you can stick to him being fully machine. But still, dude is a robot. Got a freaking robot arm, man. A robot heart, everything. Yet he has stamina. For no freaking reason. Other than copying souls. And what's funny, Steel Rising also had that, but in that game, I could set the game to have infinite stamina, which fits a freaking robot. But in this game, no such option. Here's the other boss I like after this area, which was freaking annoying. And that was one of the places I was grinding again for a bit. Here's this boss, this Frankenstein boss, and the devs are definitely some wrestling fans. Dude had Oldberg's entrance. With a little bit of Hulk Hogan in there. Rest in peace.
I am Victor, the champion.
And this boss just throws hands. I could respect that. Another FromSoft stable this game copied. BS side quests that you would not know how to do in your first playthrough to quote-unquote encourage people to play through the game again when that is lazy and outdated. This was the second to last cryptic quest, but it requires you to have a boss weapon, a certain boss weapon, which I would not use because it was a strength weapon when I focused on dex. And by the time I switched to strength, it was in this section, way after that boss. That's lazy, and I am certainly not playing the base game all over again just for that. Just for that one quest. Especially when the DLC is out, which I will play, and I won't be in any rush to buy it right now because I just finished beating the base game, and honestly, I just don't want to be reminded of Dark Souls in any way. Speaking of, there were 3 bosses in the whole game that made me have to beat them in a second attempt. Now, before anyone mentions the NPC summon here, first off, it's just the one NPC you can summon. And you can only summon them in the main boss fights, can't do it for the mini bosses, or just from doing the area before the main boss. And said summon really can't take a lot of damage, especially for those later bosses. Also, those cubes just suck. And for the true final boss, I couldn't summon that NPC at all. The first of the 3 is round 2 against the 4 of the Black Rabbit gang. In that, it should have just been those 3 because I killed the big guy, like their older brother, like oldest brother. But no, they brought him back, Frankensteined him, and that was the worst one to fight. I had to, in the second attempt, I had to hurry up, kill the one with the spear first, then the leader, then the girl, go from the most annoying to the weakest, so I could get to that final fight and still take him on 2v1. But the freaking Frankenstein, he just literally kept swinging and swinging. And if you were expected to really parry all of those, that's BS. Especially when here's the thing, I went through the whole game. I assumed there was no shield, but there is one. In fact, when I beat the game, I was wondering, wait, where's the last Legion plug to get? Guess where it is? Back in that damn Sense Fortress area. It was hidden. I was wondering what was the point of activating that switch. It's right there. You wouldn't expect it. And worse, there's 2 enemies there as well. Meant to push you off. That's another thing I hate. Enemies being there, they're only meant to push you. They're not meant to kill you. They're meant to push you so the fall gets you. Especially when enemies are hidden behind a damn corner. I hate that FromSoft staple. And also, those skinny walkways. This game does that a lot. Way too freaking much. Speak of the devil, the second annoying boss is this chick. The second in command to the villain of the game. I didn't take the footage out to talk about it here. The worst thing about this boss, in the second phase, I liked the animations. I liked how cool the boss looked. I was enjoying the fight. But then the FromSoft staples started popping up again. First off, the boss is always jumping way up. Now in this case, you can lock onto them. They don't jump out of your view. But still, they're jumping all over the damn place, so you can't touch them. And worse, my NPC summon couldn't do a freaking thing and just kept getting hit. And there's the other FromSoft staple of the boss just spamming a lot of shit. Especially if there are attacks where the boss just zips around the zone. So you can't get close. After one death, the enjoyment was gone. I just wanted to beat that freaking boss and not be stuck in the Dark Souls cycle of bosses taking like 8 to 10 plus tries. After her, it's the main villain of the game, Simon. Before that, there's a few things to talk about, such as this bit here. I honestly wasn't mad at this freaking contraption. But just like with the Sands Fortress area, the gun is just terrible here. You need a throwable to deal with that one enemy at the very freaking end. And those gun enemies, they are annoying. But this is also one case where the devs did think easy mode through. Because those enemies can at least go out in 2 hits. So, it's like they know. That's what you... Turn it off, turn it off, turn it off. I almost forgot to talk about this area where there is an equivalent of the freaking ballista. Not that motherfucker again. Definitely the ballista, not the Orlando archers. But you can actually take those damn things out. And when you go back into the zone, They are destroyed permanently. Onto this tower, after ending the Blue Fairy's suffering, there's just sad music playing, pretty much final area type music. So it should be a breeze area on the time you can just slay everybody down because we're just going, go to the last guy. But there's still enemies that are a freaking threat. In fact, here are my stats at this point. And before anyone says anything, this is still an RPG. I want to be powerful. I want the big damage numbers and a huge health bar, as the boss has got, if I can even do that, and high damage build at the same time. But when enemies still take a lot of hits when you're at level 100, you don't feel strong at all, you feel weak. But at the same time, again, it's good that I grinded a lot when I did. Otherwise, this fight alone would have took a long freaking time.
We're just throwing eggs. Damn! Bobbing and shit.
On to Simon. Dude keeps talking about this form being the next step of human evolution or some shit. Even though in the first phase, dude turned himself into freaking Mr. Hyde. Now, a lot of Resident Evil bosses have the same problem. How are your monstrous transformations the next stage of evolution? How are y'all gods? Y'all don't got the good shit like Wesker. Like, he still looks freaking human. If I recall, back in 05, he had to keep taking some serum to stay that way. But still. Oh, and when the Blue Fairy died, you get her soul. It's a cutscene thing, it's not in your inventory. But I was thinking, if it was in your inventory, if you could actually use it, it should drop the exact amount of XP you used to level up. That would have been sick.
And a key that opens a world with no lies. Bow down to your god, who will be born now!
And the second phase, the whole evolution thing gets worse. Also, I'm gonna have to pixelate. I'm gonna have to pixelate one thing, because I'm pretty sure I can't show that. Seriously.
This is evolution. Behold, as I discard this fragile body. Witness me as I grasp the power of a true god.
I can't show that. What the fuck, man? You think, oh, the second form, that's where the evolution thing is coming to play. Dude's gonna look like a god shedding out of that hide shell. Nope, he's still stuck with that in his head. Looks like a freaking... Johnson head. What the fuck? This motherfucker is right up there with that one boss, that infamous boss from Persona, right? That freaking one. If you know, you know. And this boss was getting annoying. This one almost got me. But it did have one cool attack I like, a literal like finger of God attack.
So, it comes to this. The Blue Fairy, Sophia, decides the winner. Truly, I envy you. The puppet my Sophia keeps turning back time to save. Is it her sense of duty, or her contempt for me? Or does she truly care for you? I gave up predicting Sophia's actions long ago. to hear your thoughts. Sophia, what have you done to her?
Sophia.
Yes, I suppose that was her wish. Sophia was always wise beyond her years. Knowing the truth of people's minds is a curse. I would not have been able to bear it if it weren't for Sophia. Her pure heart was a tonic for my pain. That's why I wanted her. I did. But I couldn't have her in the end. So I tried to use this power to hold her. Even if these hands never could. It's fine if I'm gone. But be warned. Watch out for Geppetto.
I knew you could do it. We have all the ingredients we need. I dreamed of this day for so long. The moment you'd come back to life. You can be human again. By using that vast supply of ergo in the arm of God. I just need the final ingredient. The one
Geppetto,
that
hold
holds your
on.
memories and your lifespan. Your heart. If you give me your heart, all these trials and tribulations will be over.
Hell no!
You have been a brilliant and a good boy. As your reward, I shall turn you into a real boy. Give me your heart, son.
Hell no!
I believed you were a good boy. But you insist on breaking my heart. Well, I suppose Carlo was mischievous. It seems you inherited his personality instead of his memories. But a father always looks after his children. Even naughty ones that must be punished, like you. In my own way, I grew to love you. After all, you're the puppet who would bring my son back to life. I'm disappointed in you. I didn't mean for this to happen. I believed you were a good boy. If you refuse,
I thought Geppetto was gonna fight with those freaking invisible anime wires. Freaking sucks that Geppetto was like this at the end. Now when it comes to Pinocchio, of course, I remember the original Disney version. But also the 1996 live-action version, that's from New Line Cinema. From WB. So an evil Geppetto or just a crazy one that wants to bring his son back, that's new to me, and I know these old fairy tales are originally dark, but in Pinocchio's case, the dark shit was all Pinocchio himself, and other characters, not Geppetto, not last I checked.
you can
So here's the
become
true
a
final
real
boss, and this is another one where I was enjoying the fight. And I thought if I healed, he healed. I thought he had my moves. But that wasn't the case, and after the first death, it was time to just beat the boss. I'll skip to that.
I will help you as much as I can. Save the cross.
And I hate this mechanic because you can never do a heavy attack without the enemy interrupting.
Were you going to destroy Carlos' heart? Sorry.
At least you better realize the error of its freaking ways at the very end. These are my stats after the game. Before playing the DLC, I might as well grind some more and level up all the other weapons. Because the weapon combinations, I didn't use them all that much. I mean, I tried to once, but I didn't like that combining one blade with a short hilt meant that you had to be really close to the enemy to hit. But there are some OP combinations, so I'll give that another shot before playing the DLC. Also, at the end of the game, you get a boss rush mode. You can even play through the old bosses again one at a time, and there are difficulty selections to pick there too. But what's the point of picking the lowest difficulty if the boss still has way bigger stats than back at the very start of the game? So you can't just breeze through the older bosses with your higher stats. And you don't even get XP for beating them. You don't even get their boss soul again, which would have been a nice incentive to play that. So after all of that, after the game having some downsides, it doesn't affect the score for me. And I cannot pretend the difficulty selection edition didn't make a difference. Look at the sales numbers. There's just a lot Lies of P still has to do. And because of the Game Pass, there's been 7 million players playing this, and the base game being free for this month on PS Plus, that will probably increase that count to 8 mil or 9 mil. Heck, to sum it up, this game has a fun factor like Bloodborne. Heck, it's more fun than Bloodborne thanks to difficulty selections, but there's a few things holding it back, just like that game. And again, hopefully the DLC is designed far better around difficulty selections. Anyway, the game had an end credit scene. This dev team is going to cover Wizard of Oz. We get a brief glimpse of Dorothy. If the devs are going to cover all the public domain fairy tales, that's a cool idea if done right, if y'all get rid of all the Souls BS. So the next game will be what? Lies of Oz? Can't be Lies of D, pause. So now I'm thinking, how the hell is Dorothy gonna fight in this? First off, I'm thinking it's gonna be some Return to Oz shit that will happen to Scarecrow, Tin Man, and the Cowardly Lion. Be encased in stone somewhere, they're not dead, but Dorothy has their souls, and perhaps they could be her stands? Honestly, besides being a stand user, I can't imagine Dorothy fighting. It'll be nice to whoop the Wicked Witch of the West's ass. But also, me personally, I would want to whoop Glinda's ass. If Glinda is a boss fight, then it's on sight. Because she gave Dorothy the damn slippers. And didn't just tell her, hey, clip your heels 3 times to go home. She didn't do that. Made her go through all that shit. Also, I haven't seen the Wicked movie, so I don't know what Glinda does there. And another thing about a Dorothy, Lies of Oz game, it'd be nice to cover the other 2 witches. Witches of the East and the South. Or should I say go into more detail about the Wicked Witch of the East? Because she was the one that got smashed by the house. A Lies of Oz game, that could be badass. And I'll be laughing my ass off if Dorothy actually fights. Oh, and it just hit me. The ruby slippers, magic slippers. If Dorothy does fight, she'll fight like Bayonetta. Fight with freaking gun slippers. Or she'll fight like Dante and Virgil do with Balrog / Beowulf.